of real-world business scenarios where students solve problems, create strategies, and present business solutions to a judge. Unfortunately, no Mosinee competitors made it to ICDC, the International Career Development Conference, which is Beckett's highest competition level where students could compete with the best of the best. Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America recently made meals for the homeless populations of Wausau. Students gathered advisor Mrs. Swinnick in Mrs. Swinnick's room last week to prepare homemade Chex Mix and sandwiches. Unfortunately, FCCLA members were unable to pass out these preparations due to the snow day, but Mrs. Swinnick took on the challenge and helped the task force deliver the food. Within the next few weeks, students will participate in the state competition. This year, students will apply what they've learned in the areas of the family and consumer sciences, leadership, and community service, and showcase their skills through interviews, presentations, and even trivia. Members of Science Olympiad recently competed in their local competition. Science Olympiad is a nationwide competition that encourages students to explore all facets of science in a hands-on way. The competition features a wide range of sciences such as physics, engineering, environmental science, chemistry, and even anatomy and physiology. The competition emphasizes teamwork, problem solving, and critical thinking, as participants work on real projects, conduct experimental tasks, and answer questions. After the success of their dedication, Mosinee members are going to the state competition. Student Senate members, specifically our junior class officers, have been hard at work. In the following weeks, Mosinee High School will have their annual prom. Junior class officers every year are tasked with the responsibility of planning and executing the event, which is no easy feat. Juniors must choose a theme, select a venue, budget for decorations, music, and photography, decorate, and oversee event logistics for the actual day. Senior class officers have been hard at work preparing for graduation, sending out information to the senior student body to submit their graduation slide information for their final day. These clubs highlight the hard work and dedication of Mosinee students as they continue to challenge themselves in the next month and strive for excellence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got it.
Item number 8 is public forum. Inquiries? No. Item number 9, consent agenda. Seek a motion to approve. Motion by Diane Gorman, second. Paul Nowinski. Any of the other committees have anything coming out? No, finance does.
Yeah, we are gonna pull out the finance, Peter wasn't here, so I shared that. We are gonna pull out item D on the finance and building discussion and possible recommendation of the approval of the ice utilization agreement. I don't know, Rod, if you kind of want
So,
to.
before we do that,
Okay,
no problem. We'll pull that out.
okay.
Let's discuss and potentially vote on that after we approve the rest of the consent agenda.
Fine by me.
No problem. So we have anything else coming out of committee? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Kelly, go ahead.
Yes. And then Rod, I would ask you to explain kind of what we're looking at, that we want the full board to vote on.
Okay, so they're raising the fee they charge us from 16.7 to 22.5. That fee of 16.7 has been the same since 2016-2017 school year. And their email says the increase is due to maintaining facility, increased electricity rates, and the acquisition of a new Zamboni. And I just remembered now, instead of that they had this note in an email
Okay.
from we got the thing back a ways. So, I guess,
So that, I guess, is what we kind of wanted to discuss, if anybody had any, information to bring forward, or how they felt about after 2016, they haven't raised the price. And like Rod had said, instead of gradually raising it, it is a jump, but it has been.
16.7 to
yeah.
22.5.
Right.
Have we increased any of our use of hours on the facility during that time?
I couldn't tell you.
We have a level plane? I don't know that. I think I can know it.
I don't think
It's the same,
Says
right?
varsity.
Use varsity and JV. I do believe, though, the games have increased the number of games from 2016 to 2025. I think they've added 2 more games that they can play, maybe one's a home game, so
So they're proposing a 34.7% increase in the cost. We asked in the committee, whether or not, because we didn't know, whether or not in 2016, much like our bus contract where we know our future increases, did they lock in an 8-year contract, or however many years it's been? At that dollar amount, the answer was no, but that they haven't increased it at all during any of those years. And so because of the large increase, that's why we're bringing it to the full board. I would just make the comment more as a recommendation to all of the entities that we might have outlays to, that rather, obviously, the cost of the new ice machine is considerably more than the $8,000 increase. But that it would have been an easier conversation to see a gradual increase along the way, and or planning for that, knowing that we would see a bigger increase later, just from a whole budget planning perspective. So,
they do use a number of the compressors,
Yeah.
which make the ice. Obviously, that's electricity, and we all know what has happened to the cost of electricity. It's not like it was in 2016.
No.
But Kevin, you're right. It would be nice to get more of an explanation of why this increase happened.
well, I mean, I guess the only analogy that I have to it is that 8 years from now, most people who own a vehicle within the next 8 years are probably gonna replace it. So there's a plan to do that. It doesn't necessarily just come out of that next year's household budget. That's all I was getting at,
Right,
so.
right. And I think that's a good reminder to all clubs, you know, to,
Does
Anticipate.
yes.
who has, our athletic director has dialogue with the Hockey Association? That's who we're entering into the deal with,
Yes,
and that's
which
probably
is
the
its
person
own
they're
separate
negotiating.
corporation,
Yep, it is,
right?
Yeah.
but that's the person that probably should be talking to them yearly to say, let's make sure we know what's going on.
I think my recommendation, obviously I understand that their needs have drastically gone up. I've dealt with this before with where we were the landlord and we had it with the city for a library contract. And the contract hadn't been increased for a decade and I come in and raise it and I look, so eventually I just got to the point where I said, listen, we're gonna either after every 3 years, we're gonna analyze the price and see if we need to make the cost of living increase, or we're just gonna increase it by 2% every year. Or some variable like that, so that way it's a gradual increase, which is a lot easier to
It
handle.
affects budgets.
Well, Kelly and I won't be here next year when the same conversation is had, but I thought because of the dollar amount, I asked the questions and then we thought it should come out to the full board. I'm not opposed to an increase, I just think that there might have been a different way to have gone about it over 8 or 9 years. And so, for the rest of you who are still gonna be here, that might be something that is considered
Yeah,
going into the
I
next
think-
year. Diane?
Well, are we still getting a charge to the other townships for the students in, I know, were we not at one time charging townships, municipalities for the use for hockey players? And that's probably way before
Nobody
our
would
time.
know that, yeah.
We don't want to do
We don't do that?
that. That's not quite a few years ago.
So have we, so this was just given to us, but there was no negotiation or conversation on the pricing?
No, but there was an accompanying email that explained the rationale behind the additional increase. Rather than a copy of the invoice come this month, similar to last year this month, when the invoice came, which was a continuation of the prior year's expense that had gone on for the previous 7 years before that.
So we could potentially negotiate this then. And
You
it
could.
is part of it, one, and two, what if we don't sign it? And to have the ability to negotiate it, because this is a 1-year contract.
All of the other ones were, by the way, also.
And so then next year could be the same, more, probably not less. But, in the spirit of negotiation, I would think that conversation would take place. Yes, you got the justification, but it's more like, from my understanding, here's the bill, the rationale, here you go.
Yes, we did
Another
negotiate.
8,000.
This is an email from the hockey club.
The rink is that odd entity in our town, right? It's a city building that is allowed use by a club who is then charging the school, right? It's not like other sports, right? I mean, we also have figure skaters, and you could say, could this come from a Fund 80, because all the feeder programs going into that, you have Silver Blades and youth hockey, right? There's a lot of that, so there is like a community service aspect to it. Agreed, it should have been probably gradually increased, not just one, because, we already have the, like all districts, the issues that you have with the budget. Background information, I think, would be helpful, because, okay, so we have to pay to have a varsity and JV hockey team. We have to pay if we're co-op, so we're paying to co-op Storm, and we're paying to co-op Wolfpack, right? Aside from those three sports, we don't pay, we have a girls' basketball team. Do we pay? But the difference there, I guess the huge difference, is that we're providing them a gym for free. And we're not providing a rink for free.
Correct.
Right, so that's, I guess, where
The only payment you have as an athletic school district would be your conference for conference dues. And
Okay.
those dues typically are gonna pay for the conference commissioner to schedule the events. And the conference, for the conference events that usually come out of that, along with the awards that the kids get, whether it be all conference awards and team awards.
I mean, so I guess in that sense, I can see a justification where it's like, yeah, but, we don't charge, right? We give them a gym, but we can't give you a rink. I would love it if the district could build a new rink. I think all parents and skaters would. So I hear you on that. I'm fine with approving it, because, I do know they just put in a new Zamboni, and I do think there's a community service aspect to it. There's a lot of kids, that rink is hopping all the time. My kids are there till 9 o'clock at night. I think it serves a lot of our students, but I would have liked to see it done in a gradual and maybe a little more forthcoming.
As far as I know, what we're doing is reserving the boys' hockey time and practice.
It's for varsity and JV only.
Not doing
Practice
anything with
time.
figure skating time or anything like that.
But I think it's a
Obviously, it helps.
Christy could maybe know, but so then Silver Blades and all the youth hockey programs that feed into that high school program all pay to the hockey club, and then essentially the hockey club is the accountant
That
for
would be
all
my
of it.
understanding.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
that's how
the
it
figure
works.
skating has nothing to do with any expense of the school
No,
district.
they paid the hockey club, the
Yep.
school pays the hockey club, and then the hockey club pays the bills, and I believe there's a deal with the city that they must give X amount of free open skate hours to the community. Like next week, it will be open skate all week, cause they've gotta make those hours up. I believe that's the arrangement, but again, it's one of those weird, a lot of cross lines there.
I have no issue approving this either, with the kind of amendment that
Yes.
our superintendent is in dialogue with them in future to negotiate any price increase on a yearly basis, so we're not hit with this 8-year whammo. I think it'd be better to have dialogue with them every year, and I think our superintendent would be the one to do it.
Or it is.
Or agent, whoever
Yep.
he wants to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And I think that's what we were kind of getting to, as far as, there has to be some accountability for some, instead of like just coming with a price and saying this.
I'll make the motion to accept the contract, also direct our superintendent to get some communication dialogue for future negotiations of the contract for next year.
We have a motion,
I'll second that.
a second. Motion by Paul, second by Megan. Any additional discussion?
I will not approve it because I don't think it's a good practice to go into an MOU and not have the dialogue. I have never done a practice where you don't have dialogue.
That's why I
Was
brought
there
it
a
up.
timeline, given that we have to have this signed by?
I thought it was the end of August, or was that, no, that was the other contract. Never
I
mind.
don't assume, since it starts November 1st, that it's
November
an
1st
issue
is
to
when it
table
begins.
it and come back next month.
So,
Well, it says
I agree, maybe there's a way we
December
could look.
31st.
Yeah, the term and condition says the fee shall be paid by December 31st, 2020.
The only thing you really gotta worry about is the term. The term of this agreement is for 1 year, starting the first day of November 2025 and ending the 30th day of March.
So we could come back in next.
Theoretically, if you wanted to have a conversation with them about trying to find a way to gradually increase it over a couple of
Right.
years, 2 or 3 years, to get to the point they want to, then the dialogue can happen. They might say, no, we're gonna do it all in 1 year. Quite frankly, we don't have a lot of options available to
Right.
us, because there's only one rink in town, and we're gonna have a hockey team, you need to have a rink.
I don't think we have much negotiating leverage.
But it might be better to know that the conversation should be started
Yeah.
than just, here it is.
That's why I made the
And
motion that he's
maybe
going to
We can
negotiate
do
next year's
this
contract.
over the term of-
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
No.
4-4.
Donna, did you vote?
No, I said aye.
3, 4. 4-4. Motion dies without approval. Is there an alternate motion?
I'll make the motion to bring this back next month after the discussion is had, to see if we can work something out, just so they understand. It's not that we don't want to do it,
Right.
it's just a better explanation, especially when we're all in the financial problems we have. So,
Is there a second to that motion? Second by Jessica. It's not a tabling motion because that one's already failed. Essentially it is, but it has the same action as
Yes.
that. With the desire I'm hearing to have the discussion happen before we approve this contract.
right,
That's what I understood.
yes.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Kelly, where were you on that?
The first aye.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the motion carries 5-3.
discuss it.
Thank you. 5-3. All right, that concludes item number 9. Item 10, discussion and possible decision, approval of the monthly voucher list. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the monthly voucher list.
Motion by Kelly Zebro,
I'll second.
second by Diane Gorman. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Donna,
Yes.
Megan,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Calandra,
Yes.
Jessica. Yes. Kelly.
Yes.
Diane.
Yes,
Keith, Paul.
Yes, we're abstaining from one check, 153887.
I think I have a check in there.
I have hers also.
I have.
She said she has one in there too.
Yes.
Which check?
You all do.
We all do.
You all do, Diane.
For-
Different.
His is different, you don't have to abstain.
No. Oh, okay.
Item number 11, discussion and possible decision acceptance of monthly treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to approve the monthly treasurer's report.
Motion by Kelly Zebro,
I'll second it.
second by Donna Kaiser. Questions? Roll call, please.
Kevin,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Megan,
yes.
Diane,
Yes,
Kelly,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Calandra. Yes. Jessica.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 12, 12.1, discussion and possible decision, second reading policy deletions, policy 5341 and policy 5611.
Two policies that we're deleting, we had the first reading last month, both of them were approved last month at the reading, and I haven't heard anything from anybody since then. So I'm recommending we rescind both of these policies. They were policies that were adopted elsewhere, in other areas. They combined some policies together, so we put them in these.
I'll make the motion to delete both policy 5341 and 5611.
We have a motion by Paul,
Second.
second by Diane, to approve the deletion of both policies. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 12.2, discussion and possible decision, second reading new policies.
So we have a handful of new policies, came out of last month as well. All of them were approved last month as a first reading. I haven't heard anything, but summer interim school attendance was designed just to clarify that. Regulations of, for school sports participation numbers and coach player ratios, that's one we've been working on for a handful of months now, probably 2 or 3 months. So that one is ready to go. And then we have employment of professional, employment of support staff. It's basically the same policy. Just remember the 3,000s is professional staff, the 4,000s is support staff in our policy manual, and then 8125 is consultants. That just clarifies, that came out of the Edgar stuff, which is not the city of Edgar or the school district of Edgar, but it's a government program where they have to update policies every once in a while based on changes in how they want things accounted for at the federal government level.
I'll make the motion to accept all of them.
I'll second it.
Motion by Paul, second by Kelly Zebro to approve the second reading of the 5 policies that were approved last month for first reading. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item 12.3, discussion and possible decision, policy revisions.
Handful of policy revisions here. Some of this came out of just stuff that either I missed last month or stuff that's happened since then. If you look at the conflict of interest, there was a section that I was requested by by a board member to add, which talks about board members will recuse themselves from discussions or voting on any agenda item that involves hiring or would directly impact a spouse, child, sibling, parent, in-law, or a bona fide IRS dependent, or dependent using the IRS criteria. So that just kind of clarifies that. In district-sponsored trips, I added a section that kind of came out of a conversation from last month that just says extracurricular trips that extend to an overnight stay are considered overnight travel other than WA athletic teams or co-curricular groups participating in state tournaments or meets. We haven't had the co-curricular groups included. So state tournament teams didn't have to come back and ask for overnight travel, but our co-curricular groups did. And a lot of our co-curricular groups, when they go, they aren't gonna meet the 60-day guideline to notify us ahead of time because the turnaround is so short. And the thought process is if our Skills USA kids qualify for state, they shouldn't be treated any differently than a wrestler that goes to state or the softball team that goes to state. So it's treating those individual groups kind of equally in that regard. Budget implementation, this is just a couple of changes. This actually, just a couple of minor changes to just help us clarify some budget information. Purchasing, what this is a policy revision, because what I've done is adopted kind of the Neola policy for purchasing and adopted it with our current language with purchasing. The reason I did that is as stuff is happening with how we're supposed to account for stuff at the federal level and the state level and purchasing, if we can adopt the Neola policy with our twist on it, it's an easier thing to know the updates that are needed versus having our own standalone policy. Neola does not update standalone policies that we have. They update their policies, and then you're to apply it to your individual policy is how the process works. So this gives us the opportunity to at least be able to stay more current in that regard versus trying to interpret and find how it works. And then community use of district facilities. There was one, this came out of a request also. And then the line added on that was, right now the sentence says school facilities shall not be used for non-school organizations at any time. Then there's a comma, this is the added part, if they interfere with the normal operations of the school day. That's the part that was added, the normal operations of the school day. And the scheduled curricular and extracurricular program of the school has always been in there, but it was just if they interfere with the normal operations of the school day, school facilities.
That policy still allows you to waive any fees.
Correct. Nothing else was changed in that policy except for that piece right there. those 6 words, or how many of them were, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like, 8 words, 10 words, whatever. I can't count today.
I'll make the motion to accept all 5 of the policies.
I'll second that.
Motion by Paul Nowinski, second by Kelly Zebro to approve all 5 policy revisions as outlined. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item number 12.4, discussion of possible decision, new policies, first reading.
This is a policy that had just came out as part of Act 20. For those of you that aren't on the Instructional Programs Committee, Act 20 is the new reading initiative at the state level. And part of the prerequisite or the requirement of that is by July 1st, we have to have a policy in place for how we're going to handle those students to determine promotion or retention at the 3rd grade level based on their ability to follow the personalized reading plan. So this is the one that's Neola put forward to us with our option to take some changes, or, you know, obviously we have some decisions we could make on it. I met with Jolynn and Brian about it. If you look, when it gets up here, there's a line across where the parentheses are. That doesn't mean we deselect the parentheses, that means we accept the parentheses. They just want me to take, you just X in the parentheses, now you don't X in the parentheses, you put a line through it, just to change it. So that we're accepting the policy pretty much as it's written, because it fits the requirement as per law, and also kind of how we're gonna operate as a district. It gives us enough flexibility, and this policy doesn't go into effect until September 1 of 2027, so, you know, it's not like it's going into effect tomorrow. But this policy gives us the flexibility to have some decision-making ability based on circumstances of each individual child to determine promotion or retention related to the personalized reading plan, which is what was intended in the intent of the law as well.
All right, seek a motion to
I'll
approve.
make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Nowinski, second by Gorman. Discussion, questions, concerns? Yes, please, Megan.
I think it's great, I guess, especially in theory, right? Then when you think like in reality, what would that do to a kid's self-esteem to have them not go on to 4th grade? But then you read further and it's like there's caveats and things that they can do, so I'm fine with the policy. I do think though, as a parent who has a dyslexic kid and who held that kid back when I noticed in 4K that something was not quite off, I couldn't, you know, I couldn't put my finger on it, but there was something quite off. And when you do that, you get kickback. It is not like, oh, you're the parent and if you wanna hold your kid back, that's fine. It is like, no, we really don't like to do that, no, that, you know, she'll get extra support, whatever, and it's like, you shouldn't have to fight for your kids, you know, if they're not making the progress. You can usually tell as a parent, I feel, or a teacher, right away, like if they just need a little bit more time, we're asking so much of kids at such a young age. I think that coupled with this policy is you have to have a culture and a climate that says, if you as a parent feel that something isn't quite right, you know, you can test for dyslexia in kindergarten, and if it shows that, then you shouldn't get any pushback as a parent if you say, my kid's going to be held back. I want them to restart, they'll start again next year, because you will get pushback. I know that I did it, my friends did it, my other friend, I know a lot of people who there is, and it's not just Mosinee, it's other districts too. I don't know what the rationale is behind it, but I think that's a really important thing that has to be like put at the forefront. Yes, we have this policy, but you know, we also support retaining your kids at an earlier grade should you feel the need, or should the teacher feel a need.
Donna?
So why is it that they're waiting until 3rd grade?
That was the decision that the state legislature put in
Right.
right past the law. It's
The
a state law.
State
It's
law.
not,
It's a
it's not a
state law.
DPI, it's not a school
And
district
it's
law.
not our district deciding.
Okay,
The
but-
state legislature passed a law, Act 20, that determined when the policy had to be put in
The
place.
rationale behind it would be because in 3rd grade, you're learning to read, and then there's that switch of learning to read to reading to learn. And so the goal of a lot of the mindset of that is that you need to capture
Yeah.
those students
Megan is
before
right.
you switch.
Yeah, but my question, part of that, my question is, as a school district, if people, say a 4K or kindergarten or first grade teacher notices that there is a lag in, development, wouldn't the suggestion be at an earlier age when it isn't quite as
Right,
pronounced?
okay, so first off, yes, there's always the opportunity and ability to do that at any age level. It obviously is, this is a policy we have to put in place to
Right,
check the
okay,
box with the
right.
law.
Okay, yeah,
So that's why this is in here, it is. This is a box checking policy because the state government says we have to have it. That's all this policy is.
okay.
It doesn't mean we wait until just third grade to make this decision. This
Okay.
decision can be made throughout.
Okay, that's, I just wanted clarification.
Yep.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 12.5, discussion and possible decision, first reading policy deletion.
Yeah, this is just a policy, I believe that was an oversight I had going through last time's lengthy update. I missed one that's gonna be deleted, so this is like, similar to the other ones, this is getting absorbed in other areas. So it's nothing that we have to worry about, it's just, it's a policy that was absorbed in other areas.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Nowinski, second by Gorman, to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. By the way, just parenthetically on that other policy, our policy about promotion or retention specifically reads, if a student is retained, it should typically be in the primary grades unless otherwise required by Wisconsin law. So the board always has its privilege to be able to alter its own policies, right? So, okay. Item 13, administrative reports.
Yeah, I just want to touch on two quick things. Building project's going really well. We sold our first set of bonds. 14.9 million, came in at a 4.41 interest rate, which is a really good interest rate. We'll see how the sale goes next year, but if the sale goes kind of how they expect, and they obviously, like I said, usually predict conservatively, so hopefully it'll be better than what they projected. We have the ability to save, $1.75 million worth of interest payments over the life of the bond than what we originally projected. So overall, that's obviously really good news. We have a meeting and coming out after break with all the different engineers to kind of start the process of finishing the final details of the planning process, and then they're gonna kick in the bid documents with the goal of getting those bids out here soon, late April, 1st of May, bid opening sometime right around the end of the school year. It's kind of the timeline I was given. And then the last thing is I just didn't know, do we partake here in the Medford legislative dinner that they have in April? Is this something we typically have done? I got an invite to it.
Sometimes.
Okay, so that is Monday, April 14th, dinner at 5:30, followed by the legislators from 6:30 to 8. I saw the list of legislators attending, and there isn't anybody, neither one of our two are on the list to attend yet, Corey Tomchek or Brent Jacobson, but there are some in other parts of our district that will be there, so.
But also importantly, the education committee legislators
Yeah.
who aren't from here.
Yeah, the people in attendance are gonna be Senator Jesse James, Senator Romaine Quinn, Representative Karen Herb, Representative David Armstrong, Representative Pat Snyder, which is out of Wausau, and then Representative John Spiros.
Probably
We
be
used
in-
to be ours.
Okay.
it'd probably be in our best interest to send at least one
Okay.
representative.
So if you wanna go, let me know so I can get that RSVP in.
What week is that?
It's a Monday, April 14th.
Will you be going?
If somebody here goes, yeah, I'll go with them. Medford. Yep, so
I'll let you know.
let me know, so we can get that RSVP in. I'd like to get that, I think they want them in probably in the next couple of weeks to prepare for a meal. I have to look up the exact time when they have the RSVP. But just wanna let you know. And the topics they've identified right now are unfunded mandates, proposed bills, state funding, district initiatives, and others.
Okay,
Did you say you're gonna go?
I was just checking literally right now. I don't think I can.
I'd probably be interested.
Okay.
Oh, that's the week of our board meeting,
Yep.
so,
Yep. Day before, I believe.
yeah.
Yep.
And if anyone else would like to go, let
Let me know.
Greg know. Okay. Item 14.1, Kelly Z.
No, we're on 13, aren't we?
I think we've already done.
Administrative reports.
Does anybody else have anything to
Ah,
add?
sorry. We all got the,
Okay.
so for the last 4 or 5 months, we've gotten the reports, and I think only once or twice we had
Yeah,
somebody.
Jolene has something to add real quick.
Please, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to update the board on where we're at with the playground at the elementary school. There's been discussions around the potential for a new playground, and I know that's been added to our 10-year construction plan. But just wanted to update the board that I've been working closely with Mr. Kaiser as well as Lee Recreation, and they had done a couple updated designs. We did get a committee together with a variety of stakeholders. So we had community member, parent, staff of all different roles. We actually had student voice as well, and they kind of took the couple designs, gave feedback, and now we're in the process of getting a more finalized design, taking all that feedback into consideration. So our next step is really sharing the picture of what the goal is for the new playground, as well as the cost. We will be doing some fundraising efforts, and kind of tapping into local resources as well as grant opportunities. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there that we are moving forward and gaining some traction with that. Very exciting to see kind of the design that'll be coming out real soon, so be able to see the picture. We'll have some big posters, and kind of have a thermometer of us working toward that goal. So good things to come, but just wanted you guys to be aware that that's kind of where we're at. So.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, Kelly.
Okay, all I have is for upcoming, sessions in April. We have the new school board member gathering. They have a list of all the regions. We are Region 5. It will be held in Marathon, the high school library, April 22nd. That's a Tuesday. So I'm trying to think if
That's
that's.
the day after swearing in, or is it?
That's what I was just
Or
gonna
is it the
say,
week
is that the
before?
day before?
When's
So-
swearing in,
When I
21st or
went to-
28th?
28th, I believe. So what we would do,
They'll all know.
they'll all know, so
Yeah.
obviously it's something I think that's beneficial for any board member to
Yes.
attend if you want to.
Right.
And then I'll reach out to the couple individuals that are voted in and encourage them to
Right.
attend it as well if they can.
Thank you, yeah,
Yep.
please do
Yep.
that, thank you, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Kelly.
Mhm.
Donna Kaiser, CISA 9, 14.2.
Okay, once again, one of our graduates, Erin Truax, was celebrated for her presentation with the CISA 5 on the local report cards at the state convention. And superintendents from Edgar, Stratford, and Tomahawk were also celebrated for their presentations at the state convention. And there was only one other thing. Corey Seilers shared that he learned of a grant available to tech schools for teaching trade-related courses. And so he is going to further delve into it and find out what it's all about, but probably, Greg, when you go up there for your meeting, maybe see if that's something we could, look at or utilize to our advantage. And that's all.
Thank you. Item number 15, future agenda items. I see there are 7 listed already. Are there any additional items? I just have one question and one item, which is actually for finance. And that would be, I think it's been a few months, maybe 4 or 5 months since we've seen the updated 10-year construction plan. Jolene kind of referenced that. coming through finance and building. Could we get a copy of that for the next month meeting?
Yes, yep.
Thank
Yep.
you.
I'll handle that, don't worry.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Steve is out.
I saw
So
Rob
we'll
like,
get you something.
what's he asking me?
No, we're good.
No, I know you know what it is.
Yeah.
Ron, I have a new one. I can get you.
No problem. So, and then, when do we bring up summer maintenance projects? Is that not in April?
That comes through the process, but because of the referendum projects, we're not gonna do much besides the referendum.
Okay, so I was thinking that would be about this month. So-
No, yeah, that's kind of the conversation we've had.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
The
All right.
project that would be the summer type project we did already with the controls update and
Yep.
when did we do that? October, November, I think.
Okay.
Part of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Item 16, nothing else for future, all right. Item 16, movement into closed executive session. The board will go into closed session to consider section 19.85(1)(c), considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee for which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Is there a motion? Motion by Diane Gorman, second by Donna Kaiser. Roll call, please.
Paul,
Yes?
Calandra. Yes. Donna,
Yes.
Megan. Yes. Diane,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Jessica.
Yes.
All right. 10 minutes.